just keep being inspired, keep being motivated. I mean, I hit 80 miles when I set my 100-mile world record, and I imagined myself in one of my workouts where I'm climbing up the mountain and just knowing what that feels like. So I mean, I go through some extreme lows in my races, and it's just continuing to be motivated and continue to be inspired. And I mean, if you're, I think there's so many ways in ultra running to challenge yourself that it's not just trail running. I mean, I've had people that have gotten interested in 24-hour races. So I mean, there's always an opportunity to challenge yourself in a new way.
Well, especially if you're getting started, consistency and volume is so important. I see so many people focus on trying to get out and have the perfect training run, go to the perfect spot and do the perfect workout and take the perfect Instagram picture of it. But really, especially if you're on a limited time budget, you need to use that time to just get out and run and run consistently and get the miles and the time in. And gradually that's what will provide the foundation you need to do these types of events.
Just be consistent. That 3-mile run that you dodged because you thought it was pointless, go out and do it. If you're consistent, then you'll gradually accrue that sort of aerobic base that you need to run well. Being specific and training on the specific terrain would be a close second to that.
I'm actually in a really nice position at the moment whereby I don't have to push the speed too much, so I don't feel like I can probably offer any tips on how to get faster over ultras. But I guess that when you're doing more and more of them, the more mileage that you're doing, generally the faster you'll get.
Don't go out on your training runs in search of the belief and the reaffirmation that the distance you're trying to do in the race is possible. If it's the first time, for example, you've run 60 miles, don't go out on a 15-mile training run with the expectation that you're going to come back at the end of that 15-mile training run and think, yes, I can definitely do it, because you'll always end up coming back disappointed. So I think the reality of it is, if in an ultra you're going further than you ever have done before, that is the whole point of the race. And how exciting is it that in that race you get to go further than you have done before? So in your training, just chill out, just focus on the miles that you're doing. Don't worry about how far you're going to have to run in the race. If you put the miles in training, you'll make it, no problem.
You've got to get out of breath. Don't think it's a shuffle. You will be shuffling, and in training you need to get out of breath. Yeah, there needs to be some fast running. As often as you can handle and are prepared to do, and is relevant in the context of your race goals.
So for me, most of my ultra stuff is with big backpacks on, solo, or pushing baby strollers and that kind of stuff. So rather than just, a lot of people think to train for running, you just have to run. I do a lot of yoga, I do a lot of CrossFit, I do a lot of weights. I try and keep big. Everyone comes up to me and goes, "You're not a runner, you're fat." And I'm like, "Ah." And I was like, no, it's because this is my energy reserves and these are the muscles that I need to propel me. And so I don't spend too much time just on running. It's about doing all the different disciplines.
So I think you're going to probably fall into the trap of just wanting to run too much training for an ultra, because you think the more I run, the better I'll get, but you're much more likely to pick up injuries and just not be nice and resilient to things during the race. I think to build a big engine, it's really good to find a form of cross training which you really enjoy, so that means you'll do it a lot more. For me it's skiing, which is unfortunately not the best for in the UK, but try and find another form of training which you really love to do, so you can build that big engine without exposing yourself to overuse injuries.
Yeah, I think it's about, yes, you obviously need to get some training miles into your legs, but I think for me the key thing is making sure that you match that with some strength training and some really good quality strength training. So, lifting heavy weights, small numbers of reps to actually get your muscles, get them stronger, get them more powerful. I think there's the tendency for some people that kind of becomes an add-on to a lot of running, whereas actually for me what is working at the moment is having much more of a balance between both running and strength training and mixing the two together sometimes, so actually challenging yourself by doing both and alternating between them within the same session, so that you're really teaching, you're working on developing your muscle strength, but then challenging your legs to run on fatigue muscles. That works really well, I think, particularly for women and particularly for menopausal women. Basically, as you go through menopause, your hormones drop, your hormone levels of estrogen and progesterone drop, and your muscles are not as receptive and sensitive to the kind of exercise that you might have done previously, so you need to stress them more in order to maintain the muscle mass, or indeed to improve your muscle mass. So it's all hormone related, but you need to basically work them an awful lot harder to get the same effect as you did when you were younger.
In my opinion, don't chase the miles. Put in quality training and don't worry about how many miles you're doing. So many people just think about, I've got to do X amount of miles. Everybody's individual. So do quality training. A bit of speed work, hill reps. You've got to get obviously the long runs in, and also rest. Rest is just as important as the training itself. But there's no point doing junk miles. It's a complete waste of time, and it doesn't do you any favours at all. You're just running for the sake of it.
And the thing that I wished, I didn't really do any training for my run. I just got up and went because that's what Forrest did. You didn't see him doing sort of deadlifts and sort of core work, but I did pay for it. And like sort of, I'm now in a big sort of thing. Just have a rock solid core, and after that, your legs know what they're doing. They've been doing it for however many years, but your core can get a bit neglected, and don't leave it out.